Hello, dear ones, it's Alice. I am of the stars. This is a discussion for light workers about misqualified snippets of information that we may hear over and over again on the astral airs, and what to do about it, and what the best way is to clear through that stuff for ourselves. And I have made a list yesterday of recurring phrases that I've heard that seem very outlandish to me in many cases and seem to have nothing to do with my personal situation, either in the past or in the present, or by God's grace through the future days. And in addition to that, because it reminded me somewhat of black magic, but I didn't know what kind of black magic, I pulled some Wikipedia articles out. One is called Sympathetic Magic, and the other is called Witchcraft in the Philippines, because I had heard that witchcraft is very misqualified there, extremely dark and very widespread, much in the way that there's a great deal of witchcraft in Brazil and in, I heard, Louisiana. But I've studied those others a little, and also the witchcraft that exists in the esoteric cults in the United States, and I didn't know much about the Philippines. Okay. I should say at the outset, despite all this studying I did yesterday, I didn't really find anything extremely helpful or new in these two Wikipedia articles. And that is because, in general, the Lightworker deals with bringing in the light, not with countering or fighting the dark, okay? Fighting the dark necessarily involves a denigration of our own energies, a making darker of our own light. And so fighting is a dark art, and witchcraft is a dark art. But blessings and purification of energy and bringing in of the light, these are the things that light workers concentrate on, you know. And I will go into that a little later about witchcraft and how it differs and what my site has to offer about countering witchcraft in a way that's most productive to bringing in the light to our own soul mission. Okay, so to get back to the topic of the things I've been hearing on the astral plane, which are somehow grating on my heart. They're injuring my heart, and I'm thinking they may be upsetting other people too. And I want to show where you can go in my website to help ameliorate this injury that happens because of the misqualified energy in our noosphere. These are phrases that are recurring and that I have no way of understanding where they're coming from and what's up with it. And it goes like this: throwing one's own urine into someone else's yard, throwing one's own feces into someone else's yard or else at someone else, poisoning of someone else's, plants like vegetable gardens or flower gardens, trespassing on someone else's property, or having someone else trespass on someone's property so as to leave illegal goods there, or to leave poisons there, or to vandalize the property. Having one's cat hunt on a victim's property. Imagining breaking into or sneaking into the victim's house. Imagining raping the wife of or the children of the victim, or raping the victim. Poisoning the victim's dog, killing and eating the victim's cat, throwing boiling water or boiling oil on the victim's plants or on the victim himself, throwing rats or other rodents out of one's yard and into the victim's yard. Are you still with me? This is pretty awful. Having sex with one's wife with an image of the victim aped on the wife. In other words, imagining that one is, say, raping the victim while carrying out the act of sex with someone else. Sending one's spirit, maybe astral body, to lounge in or walk around in the victim's house, either when they are gone or when they are asleep. That's when the victim is away from the house or asleep. Sending one's spirit into the victim's pet or into a wild animal, and having that pet or wild animal act violently towards the victim. We're getting close to the end here. There's another whole set of misqualified energy statements that has more to do with hate crimes or other crimes that everyone knows about. And I'll talk about those another time. So I talked about these because they seem to bear a relationship to black magic or to subconscious thought processes or to our feral drives and our monkey-like ancestry in some cases. It could be that they're the result of the thoughts of currently extant savage man, or it might be that they have to do with the thoughts of animals out in a person's yard, animals that have not yet attained higher mind, or animals that don't primarily feel their heart chakra. It could be stuff from the past of humankind, when humans were more like monkeys than people. And so the question is, does witchcraft manipulate these types of statements and cause them to be cast about? I'll look first at sympathetic magic, the article in Wikipedia. Under the qualities of sympathetic magic, there are two laws, one to do with similarity and the other with contagion. It seems to me that in folk literature, similarity is a way of coming up with objects in the environment that might make better a person who is ill, for instance. People may say that because the object is similar in form to the person's organ that is ailing, then the object, eating the object, will result in healing the organ. For instance, walnut, which look like brains, might be recommended by a witch doctor to improve brain function. That's just one example. And that's not, to me, that's more like herbal medicine in the ancient days than it is to do with witchcraft. Also discussed under the issue of similarity in the Wikipedia article is an old folk notion that a person's life force can be kept in a safe place far from, say, a scene of battle, so that the person can never be killed because the life force is intact and preserved someplace else. And I have an interest in that idea because in the modern day there are analogies to that, but it might not be a physical place that where we keep our life force safe. It might be that we place our faith in an incantation or in prayer, specific prayers for God's help, or through repetition of a ritual action that's considered to keep a person safe. It might be we have with us an object such as a whistle that we believe will keep us safe if we blow it in times of danger. We might keep with us a blessed item, you see. We might keep with us a crucifix or a holy medallion, something like that, that will keep us safe. And in my work, I suggest alteration of timelines and dimensions, and in a way, this fits into a magical context, because I believe that black magic takes place in a causal context, in a cause and effect context. In terms of what we've just been reading and discussing, the walnut, because it looks like the brain, causes an effect on the brain, right? And a yellow root might be considered to cure jaundice, which causes yellow skin. So the yellowness of the root causes the cure for jaundice, okay? But we light workers don't say that. We say we step out of the causal context. We step out of cause and effect, because cause and effect are the things that create a timeline and a dimension. We stand above that in our energetic field. We stand beyond cause and effect in a greater light, okay? And remembering this and returning to this greater light can cure the darkness of this realm. Now, each of the light workers has a different way of doing this. In my work, I often state that saying spirit to team, optimize timelines and dimensions for the all through free will spring us out of the trap of causality. It'll spring us beyond the boundaries of our world and into a place where free will exists and where our spirit can determine the correct course and the right panorama of cause and effect for us in our Lightworker mission today. So you see, there is, I feel, some connection between the old beliefs in similarities and the Lightworker beliefs, except that we step far past that into alignment with God Himself. God is beyond creation and within creation, and we can step into a place beyond creation and influence creation through alignment with God's will. That's another way of doing it. Do you see? Okay, now coming back to this rather dense article. It says hypotheses about prehistoric sympathetic magic. And they mention, the ancient cave drawings of shamans and hunted animals and handprints. You recall those pictures? Have you seen them? And they say that there may have been a ritual involved in going down deep into the earth and visualizing, creating the scene of the hunt prior to the hunt instituted by the shaman, right? The shaman creates the scene prior to the hunt and maybe takes everybody down there prior to the hunt so that they can visualize the successful hunt, and this will influence the outcome. I, as the Lightworker, agree with this. I believe that visualization is extremely important to the successful outcome of our attempts to change the reality. The more vividly we can visualize a positive outcome, the more likely there will be a positive outcome. So I think even in prehistoric times that the cavemen may have known something about this, something that's really important. Okay? More important than my talking to you about it is your seeing it clearly. Okay? I can point the direction, but you have to do the work. You have to create the new reality within yourself. I'm not talking about the hunt, okay? I'm talking about ourselves, how we can change ourselves, because we are a microcosm of Earth and of the solar system and of the universe. Insofar as we can change ourselves, we can change all those other things. You see, we are the walnut. We are the yellow root. We are that which changes all the beings everywhere. Moving on. Under the section Modern Examples, the Wikipedia article speaks of some Ivy League college students who were put to the test regarding modern ideas, the ideas of very highly educated people about sympathetic magic. And the interesting result of that is the students did believe in sympathetic magic. For instance, and this is a funny one, they would not drink water that had been exposed to a sterilized cockroach, in the notion that the cockroach had contaminated the water, even though their scientific minds told them that it was not true. There was another study in 1992 with people who did not want to put a sweater on if it had been worn by someone with a disease. Then there was a study about holy water, which is presumed to have a blessing in it from a church, and the thought was that if the water had been later processed to remove minerals, that somehow this process would interfere with the blessing on the water, which would no longer exist. I have to say here as a Lightworker too that there's some truth in this, because all objects and all thoughts have certain energies, whether they be dense energies or very light, bright energies, okay? And the thought of a dense energy, such as the human notion that cockroach is a pretty bad animal, might influence the water, which is life-giving and a good energy, and create a darkness in the water. Then when you drink the water, you might become more dark, you see? In the same way, if you wear clothes of someone who is ill, very ill, okay, if you put those clothes on, you can become darker, more unhealthy, not only because there might be some contagion from the person in the clothes, but also because your own thoughts may influence you to become more dark. The energy of the clothes themselves, even though they have no germs in them, might be darker because the people are sicker. If you could see darkness and lightness in objects, then you would know right away that this is true. Our spirits know that this is true. There might be two objects, say two parking places you're thinking of pulling into, right? One has a possibility of an accident right afterwards, and the other is free and clear and safe. If you can see the dark and the light in those two identical parking places, or close to identical, then you'll know where to park your car, okay? If you're searching for clothes in a store, you can see which clothes are bright in spirit and which clothes are not bright. And you can pick for yourselves clothes that are bright. In the same way, if you're in a grocery store, okay, if you can see the light around the food, you will know which is old and which is new, which might be tainted and which is not tainted, what you can buy safely and what you cannot. All right? How do you develop this ability to see the darkness and lightness of things? The way to do it is to purify your own energy field. Okay? You have to be very light, very bright, and in your mind very neutral, very quiet, before you can discern the taint of darkness in objects around you, in your energy field. So the important thing to do is to develop your own energy field, to think light, bright thoughts, to feel light, bright emotions, to have, insofar as you may, a light, bright lifestyle through diet, through rest, through meditation, through exercise, and so on. I bet you already knew that. There is one other concept in this article from Wikipedia, Sympathetic Magic article, and it has to do with the causal realm and connection of personal items gleaned from the Lightworker to be used in dark magic rituals. For instance, the use of a lock of hair from, or even one hair from the Lightworker, the use of a fingernail clipping, the use of cast-off shoes or clothing, the use of food thrown into our garbage can to be used in dark magic rituals by a black magic person. You know, we're always losing things from ourselves. We may put them in the garbage. We may tell them to someone else, say on Craigslist. We may take them to the thrift store and donate them, you know. And there is some danger incurred in this. You all know that if we give away an old computer, somebody might take it from the thrift store, or if we sell it, somebody might buy it from us, and then they might find on it snippets of information about our personal files that were not completely erased. And it's a little like that, this idea that black magic people can grab pieces of our hair or fingernails or pieces of our clothing and make something very bad of it, you know? So my guess is, before we throw out the trash, before we give away old items, before we sell something on Craigslist, how about if we were to say a prayer or offer an affirmation, as Peggy Black does, morningmessages.com, offer an intention, as she does, or create a visualization that these items that we have will produce no harm for ourselves in our giving them away or in losing them. That the causal connection between us and these items be set aside, and that they be cleansed and purified of all that, and that they cause no harm to anyone else, and no one else causes harm to us. We sever the connection from above, from high above, from beyond the causal realm. We send down healing life to these objects, and we let them go. Okay, so that is a discussion of sympathetic magic in the Wikipedia article by that name. Sympathetic magic, and how it relates to what the Lightworkers are proposing. In a way, it has roots in sympathetic magic, but in a higher way, it escapes the realm of cause and effect, which is the basis of all magical arts, you see. And coming up next, in the next video, we'll have some of the tools in my blog, Awakening with Planet Earth, that you can use to increase your light so that you will be far beyond the realm of cause and effect. God bless you all and keep you safe and be with you through all your days in love, light, and joy. This is Alice B. Clagett. I am of the stars, and you are too. See you at awakeningwithplanetearth.com.